Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Appraisal Buzzcast. I'm Jim Morrison, and today we have Joan Trice, founder and CEO of Allterra Group, and Ernie Durbin, Chief Valuation Officer at Voxtur. And we're going to be talking about the market, specifically the boom and bust panel at Valuation Expo, where they'll be debating what's going on with the current market. Joan, I'll hand it over to you to get started.
All righty. Well, welcome, Ernie. I'm thrilled to be interviewing you this morning. And
you should probably say welcome back, because I've done this before.
I know. Ernie, I talk to you almost every day. I think most of the audience knows we're really, really close friends, but that does not mean, Ernie, that I take the gloves off. Okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to beat you to a bloody pulp. You know, we're going to have a debate, you know, and there will be no bloodshed, but this is really important topic for appraisers, especially in a changing market. What say ye?
Yeah. First thing I would say is I think you titled the session wrong, right? You've got boom or bust going, and
come right out and smack me right out of the.
Well, look, I'm just a moderator, and that's the beauty. I love being moderator. So we got two on one side, two on the other side, and all I get to do is tease them and kind of aggravate them into arguing with each other, and then occasionally maybe put out a fire. And I mean, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, exactly.
But anyway,
so what's wrong with our title? Yeah.
You know, when you guys called and asked me to do this, I was excited about it, except for I don't like the title. Title to me kind of says, are we going to have a boom or a bust? Is the housing market going to boom as a result of the changes that we're seeing? Well, I think we already know that's not true, right? So to me, it's more like a better metaphor would be a tire. Are we going to have a slow leak that allows us to kind of get off the side of the road and change the tire without any major damage to our vehicle? Or are we going to have a blowout and possibly have a much more emergent situation, right? So that to me is the question. There's no question that the market is contracting and that we're going to have some change. We're going to have to change the tire, no question. The question is, are we going to come down slow, or are we going to have a blowout? And then, of course, I think in our earlier discussion, you said maybe neither, right? You said stagnant.
Yeah. Well, that too. Well, let's talk about that. So let's take a quick break, Ernie, and when we come back, we'll pick up where we left off.
Remote Val Desktop is here. With added floor plan and measurement functionalities, desktop appraisals have never been faster, easier, or more trustworthy. Remote Val keeps you in control of your appraisal while gathering accurate information, photos, and measurements, all through the homeowner's smartphone. There's also a live recording function enabling you to record the inspection and revisit the home whenever you want to. And Center pays you the same full fee for Remote Val inspections. Remote Val is fast, easy to use, and completely free for appraisers. To see a demo of Remote Val in action, visit incenteram.com.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, and welcome back, Ernie. So we were talking before the break a little bit about changing markets, and it seems to me that even maybe our current forms don't accommodate changing markets all that well. So it's either
I don't know how you can't think that checking a box, you know, one way or the other is not an accommodation. Well, it's an accommodation, it's just not correct, right?
So what are the choices? You have increasing, declining, and what's stable. The equilibrium? Stable. Is that?
Yeah, stable. Yeah.
Is it stable or equilibrium?
Well, the value is increasing, stable, or declining.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Supply is imbalance, oversupply, or undersupply. Right.
Okay.
Now look, those I agree with those big buckets, but the truth of the matter is,
aren't they theoretical?
Well, every
appraiser ever at equilibrium? I mean, for maybe a second.
I hope not. I mean, look, the truth of the matter is, appraisers don't want values to be, or pardon me, we shouldn't be using the word values either. It's prices, right? But appraisers don't want prices to be stable because they don't need us when they're stable, right? So we're there to help our clients and intended users evaluate those shifts in prices and which direction they're headed. The one thing that's stable, the only stable thing is the effective date. That's it.
So Ernie, should we be reminding our audience out there, as we all know what happens in the real world as you're not able to meet the contract price in a declining market?
Or an increasing market.
Historically, the appraiser has been put under a lot of pressure. Do you think that's still an issue today?
So look, the interesting thing about values, of course, or pardon me, prices, is when prices are increasing, it's difficult for appraisers to keep up with that without
Correct.
making very significant market change adjustments, which are welcome by the lenders and the GSEs. However, in the past, we've been kind of beat up. And one of the questions in this session that we're going to address is, our appraiser is going to get blamed for this, for whether it's a blowout or a slow leak. And of course, we always get blamed. So
Yeah, I was going to say that's inevitable, right?
But so we need to get our answers together for the marketplace for what's happening here, right? So, I mean, to give you an example, let's say in a market beginning in, let's say you have an effective date as of August this month, and you had increasing values that went up through June, and then June and July were stable, and then August you're seeing big changes in list to sale price ratios, days on the market, maybe a retraction in median and average sale price in the market segment. Now, here's interesting. You mark declining, right? I mean, because as of the effective date of that assignment, your values are declining. But then you use a sale from March, right? And you have to index it up to June. It stays the same June and July, and it comes down a little bit in August. So that's going to be some interesting discussions on behalf of the appraiser, because you're going to say declining values, and you're going to be making positive market change adjustments to some of your older sales, obviously moderated by the fact that there may have been an equilibrium or a stable values and then a decline. But that's a perfect example of some of the things we're going to talk about in this session. Is you look, how do we explore and determine the signals of a changing market, and then when that happens, how do we develop an analysis and a way to report that's meaningful to the intended user and also is not misleading, either intentionally or otherwise. And I say intentionally or otherwise. Most of the time, appraisers, if they have misleading elements in their report, it's unintentional. But if you're ignoring changes in the market because you don't want to address those, that's called intentional misleading, right? So we're gonna unpack that. We got an all-star panel.
Who's on that panel?
So we got Sean Telford, John Dingman, some guy named Trice, Lee Trice,
yeah, the baby brother, yeah,
and Tobias Peter, right? And so, and by the way, we're going to kind of take the boom or bust side. In other words, there's a real reckoning coming, being the bust or the blowout side. And I think Lee and John are taking on that side, and then
the optimist versus the
pardon me, Lee and John, and then Sean and Tobias are saying, oh no, it's all good, right? So,
and the funny thing is, we set this panel many months ago, knowing that we were looking ahead to a period of change.
Hey, every appraiser out there that knows their stuff knew that there's going to be
there was always going to be a day of reckoning.
This is not sustainable, but that's good news for appraisers, because we are going to be in demand, because as the market shifts, there's going to be a lot of attention paid to, hey, you're making positive market change adjustments, but we're finding out that, based on larger statistical pools, that values are stable. Why? And so, look, it's fine. We can explain that. Appraisers can explain that, right?
Yep, agreed. Well, let's take another break, and when we come right back, we'll pick up again where we left off.
The Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal 7th edition is a landmark text that reflects the depth and breadth of appraisal knowledge. Each entry, definition, and reference has been painstakingly researched and designed to reflect an expert understanding of the issues that currently impact the profession. The new dictionary is an essential authoritative resource for all appraisers. To purchase, visit appraisalinstitute.org/dictionary7.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So, Ernie, you had mentioned earlier something about noise, and there's actually a great book out there called The Signal and the Noise, written by a couple of famous economists. What is the difference between a signal and a noise? And this is a two-part question, so then I'll turn it over to you and you can give a monologue. And that is, what are the canaries in the coal mine that appraisers should be looking for that indicate the market might be getting ready to turn? Hasn't turned yet, but it's
so
there.
you got mixed metaphors here, signal, noise, and canaries, but we'll work with it, okay?
Okay.
So look, the difference between signal and noise is that a signal is a clarion call, right? That kind of gives you an idea of the direction you need to go. Noise can confuse your signals, right? So if you overlay noise, it takes that clarity away. So when we begin to look at signals in the marketplace, the canaries, if you will, initially, I think what appraisers will notice right out of the blocks is a change in marketing times, right? And then because we've seen crazy marketing times, like properties that are literally on the market for a day or hours, and there's bidding wars and situations where it's announced when it goes on the market, and so it's really exposed to the market as a coming soon listing, and then boom, it's picked up. Well, when those begin to elongate, that indicates that you're seeing a shift in that marketplace, right? And then list to sale price ratios, I think, is probably the next indicator that you're going to see really quickly. So whereas people were paying 105, 108% of list price, now suddenly they'll be paying list price. And then, hey, possibly buyers might even negotiate. Another interesting thing that you will see, and you've got to read your contracts to see this, you'll see where in the past, they've been waiving inspections, and now they want inspections, right? I'm talking about home inspections, waiving repairs and now saying subject to, and things like that. Another leading indicator is concessions coming back. I mean, for the longest time, we had almost inverse concessions, right? But so those are the things that come quickly, and those are very signal tales that look, something is changing in this market. And then a lagging indicator is going to be actual median or average sale price changes in that market segment, right? So it doesn't lag far behind, but unfortunately, that is the metric that we use to make our primary metric for making our market change adjustments, right? Either by regression or other means, or match pairs, and that lags a little bit. So I think it's appropriate to tamp down the market change adjustments and explain those other signals that are early, that things are changing.
Ernie, I can tell this is a topic that you absolutely immerse yourself in. I mean, you always have. This is.
It has beat me up in the past. When I had a large appraisal firm, we were one of the early predictors of the fall back in 2007. Actually, we were talking about oversupply, and you were in Cincinnati at that time. And
I was. You were telling the truth, and you got punished terribly.
I lost a lot of business from lenders because they didn't want to hear the truth. But I think that they're educated now. So they want to hear from us.
I think so too. Well, that's a great thing. Well, Ernie, thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
I am looking forward to it, and looking forward to seeing all my friends at Val Expo.
Thank you.
Data collection tech company ProxyPix has become Freddie Mac's first approved property data report vendor in support of their ACE or appraisal waiver program for cash out. Lenders can benefit from ProxyPix PDR product by securing mortgage transactions with the properties in acceptable condition. Tap into their network of over 65,000 trained data collectors who are equipped to capture a property's condition. generate a floor plan, and submit a subject data via their app on site. Find out more at proxypix.com. Well, thank you, Joan, and thank you, Ernie. Speaking of education, this is a CE session. So if you're not used to the normal CE, this is a fun, engaging CE. You're going to want to come take it out. Come register valuationexpo.com/register and join us in Las Vegas. It's going to be a great time. Thanks to our listeners. Thanks to our sponsors for helping us put this on. Have a great day.